will I spend $1,800 to get a closing all day long.
Dude, this is crazy. This is a masterclass on leads and lead generation.
I mean, the thing is like if you go after these lead sources, you start cash flowing within 90 days because you're going to start getting
Good
leads.
point.
You're going to start getting leads fast. These are people that transact quickly.
Are you ready for a masterclass in how to drive more leads to your business that will actually close? Stay tuned for this episode. It's with Chris Waters, who's out of Austin, Texas. He actually has teams peppered all around that area. This episode and many of my past episodes have been brought to you by my very good friend, Andy Bovender. He's the founder of the Bovender team out of the Carolinas. Him and his team have closed more than $2.5 billion in transactions. So needless to say, they do an excellent job. They take care of their clients and they will take care of yours. So if you have somebody who's been thinking about making a move to or from the Carolinas, the Bovender team is the team to call. With that, if you want to hang out with some amazing past guests, learn from them, share ideas, get some best practices, and maybe share a potential referral or two, scroll down to the link below to learn more about the Inner Circle Group. And as always, I'm your referral partner out of San Francisco, Sean Kunkler. Your lowest performing listing agent sells 60 units a year.
Yep. 60, lowest performer.
That's wild.
It's not a fluke. We've been doing this for, over a decade, every year, like clockwork. It's not like that's my best performer, that's my lowest performer, and it's not like I have 2 or 3 listing agents. I've got, dozens of them.
Yeah. Give me more. Let's build from there just to get more context. What's your highest performing listing agent doing in units roughly?
Between 110 and 120 units, depending on the year.
That's wild.
I've got a mom that's got 5 kids that did 111 closings.
That is efficiency. That's wild. So let's jump in from there. How?
There needs to be like a couple patterns busted in the average mind of most agents. I got licensed as an agent in 2006.
Okay.
And I joined this team as a buyer's agent. Keller Williams had an amazing team. The team was amazing. And in 2006 is when the Google algorithm for AdWords launched. And so the team I was on started buying leads via Google. And I figured out in like a matter of 3 months, there was a proverbial ceiling to how many deals I could close per month working leads, most of the typical leads you get through digital advertising.
Sure.
And there's only so many leads you can have in your entire pipeline. And there's a predetermined conversion rate per 100 leads, depending on what string of keywords you use. And so when I say there's a pattern that has to be, I think, busted in the mind of a lot of agents is a lot of the companies out there that generate leads for agents, like think CRMs that have, SEM teams to generate leads. They are, they generate massive volumes of leads at a very low cost per lead. And like even some agents and teams, like, they make a decision on which company to go with based off who has the lowest cost per lead. And what I actually found is that you actually want the complete opposite. So instead of thinking about how do I get the cheapest lead, how can I go and get not the lowest quality lead and not the most number of leads, but the highest quality of lead? And if it's at a higher price, it's okay as long as it produces a really high return on investment, right?
And when you say the highest quality of lead, do you mean the person furthest down the funnel?
Yeah. So I basically have focused for the last 15 years on finding high intent leads that will transact in less than 90 days because what I believe is our industry has been a little bit brainwashed that it's like the norm to follow up with a lead for 12 to 24 months. And I don't think you can actually have a good career and have like predictable income and like make enough money if you're, working leads that take 1 to 2 years to convert.
It's
unless you're,
exhausting.
I mean, if you're selling like a $5 or $6 million house, okay, that's one thing. But if you're selling like the average home in America, like the numbers don't really work. And then you can only manage so many leads and follow up with so many leads. And so there's a predetermined, ceiling of your income based off how many hours are in the day to follow up with those leads. And so I've spent the last 15 years focused on finding all the high intent lead sources, and I only want to go out, I only want to generate leads that have the likelihood to transact in the next 90 days.
Mm.
And so all of the leads we bring in go to our inside sales team, and my inside sales team gets those leads and they book the appointment, and then they put the appointment on the listing agent's calendar. So my listing agents, they wake up and they have appointments on their calendar. They don't book them. They don't have to confirm them. They don't have to figure out lead generation. They just have to prepare for the appointment, go on the appointment, and get the listing signed.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people find it kind of staggering when I say this, but our lead to appointment ratio is 1.6 to 1.
Damn.
So for every 1.6 leads, we get one appointment. For every 2 appointments, we get one listing signed.
Damn. That's amazing. Like, those are huge numbers. I'd be willing to bet the hardest part of your day isn't the work. It's the mental load. It's the decision fatigue. It's the shuffling of priorities while you're already playing catch up. You're checking off things from your to-do list just as fast as they're getting added. And I'd also be willing to bet some of those meaningful business relationships you've had in the past have begun to fade. Ace Your Day is a physical deck of 52 strategic cards designed to halt fatigue. Refined by real-world results, this system replaces chaos of a to-do list with a curated set of high-impact actions. It's simple. Set a timer for 15 minutes, draw a card, and make your move. The deck handles the thinking. You drive the business. Building a secure business should not be a guessing game. Let's stop overthinking the day and trust a system that prioritizes connections and relationships. Let the deck handle the strategy. You focus on the results. Click the link in the description to reclaim your day 15 minutes at a time.
We're booking hundreds of listing appointments every month, and I just got the numbers for last year. Less than 10% of our appointments came from long-term follow-up.
Wow.
So there's a beauty to having high intent, faster converting leads. You don't bog the inside sales team. You get more efficiency out of the inside sales agents. I have inside sales agents that will book 80 to 90 listing appointments in a month. And out of those 80 to 90 listing appointments, we will take 45 listings from one ISA.
That's crazy. And so a lead that comes in, they're optimally going to convert within 90 days. How many times is that inside rep following up until the appointment?
Usually it's one call, one and done.
Really? That's wild. All right. Give me specifics. How?
So, I mean, I'm at a different place now because we spend so much money in lead generation. But for anybody that doesn't know me, 15 years ago, 16 years ago, I invested in this bar and restaurant with this loan officer I knew. And I had never been in the service industry. I didn't know anything about it. But, I was 24-year-old and stupid, and, took all my money and invested in it in this business, and it went completely bust. And
I think we all have one of those stories. Really good tuition we paid for that one.
This was a very humbling experience, to say the least.
Yeah.
So I'm like literally on my girlfriend's red IKEA couch, like starting over, because I didn't have the money to pay for rent. I had too much pride to go and live with my mom.
Yeah.
And so I was starting over, right? Like it was like the Lebanese mafia was chasing me because we owed money for alcohol, like liquor sales, and the Texas Alcohol Beverage Commission was after me. Like it was a bad deal.
Oof.
So, for anybody listening to this, there's some steps of how you step up, and I'm just going to tell you what I did.
Yeah.
So the low hanging fruit for high intent leads that require minimal follow up is, and I'll tell you guys the source where you can go and get this. You can go to about to sell.com, and they scrape all of the public records. So people that are going through major life events, by the way, people that go through major life events coincidentally have to file a lot of paperwork at the county clerk's office.
Yep.
And so if you inherited a home and went through probate proceedings, it's public record. If you're going through a divorce, the divorce records are public record. If you are facing foreclosure, they're public record. Expireds, withdrawals, for sale by owners, all public, right? And so these, call it 5 lead sources, are, we're talking compared to companies like Zillow and Realtor.com and these other lead generation companies, you're getting these leads for pennies.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a fraction of the cost. So you buy the lead data, and then it's about having a campaign in place to generate an inbound call where they're calling you saying, "Hey, I want to sell my house."
Hmm.
So, the days of like cold calling and all those things, it's, I don't know if anybody's even seen the update recently from Apple, the iOS update. It's like my phone is screening every single person, including my mom. Um, and so it's really about having a really strong inbound strategy to
Right.
bring come list me's from that lead data. And so we do a plethora of things. We send out direct mail pieces. We also enrich the contact information with emails, and we will send out cold emails. And our ultimate goal is to drive the consumer to our website. And then once we get them to our website, we have retargeting at like the nth degree. Because people going through these major life events, they're not going to transact right away. So like, but and honestly, I
Right.
don't want them to call me until they're ready to transact, because I don't want to bog down my inside sales team. I want them to call me when they're like, boom, come sign me up tomorrow.
Yeah.
So again, the direct mail and cold email, we've even gone as far as like doing cold DMs via social media to that
Hmm.
data set. Um, but the goal is to get them to the website. And then once they get to the website, I don't know if anybody listening knows this, but in the real estate industry, the average conversion rate from web visitor to web form conversion, like the web form being filled out,
Yeah.
is on average 2.5%. So if you have 100 people go visit your website,
Too
only 2.5% of the people fill it out.
crazy.
And so there's a whole stack of things you can do to like more than double that number. And that becomes, that might seem insignificant to somebody listening, but if you can double your web visitor to lead form completion ratio, like that, it has the power to double your revenue, like literally double your revenue.
I agree. I mean, I think to pause really quick right there, if somebody's willing to take the time to put in their information, they're saying they're predisposed to make a move.
Yep.
Like they're, to your point, they're waving the flag. Hey, we're pretty ready to go at this point.
And that
Uh,
listing is very different than a buyer, right? They're not just like scanning homes for sale. Like if they submit their information to sell, like boom, they're ready.
and to your earlier point, there's a trigger event. Like something is the catalyst behind this, which means they then have a timeline, and anybody with a timeline transacts. Hey, friends, I have a small favor to ask. For me to continue to bring you outstanding guests who share their best kept secrets for growing a successful real estate business, please take a moment and hit that like button so agents like you can find this content. And also hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss out on any new episodes. Now, back to our show.
So on the retargeting side, some of the things I've noticed is a lot of these tech companies, they have very generic retargeting. Like the consumer that sees the ad from these tech companies that do retargeting for you, the retargeting ads are not even branded. They're not branded to the agent. They're like these very generic ads. So if you pay attention to headlines and like the content, like it's very generic. And so when you're trying to build a listing machine, those retargeting ads need to be, branded to you, because the consumer needs to connect the dot between like those direct mail pieces, your website, and then the Google display ads and the social media ads, that they're seeing follow them around after they leave your website.
Yeah.
So that's like kind of layer number one on the retargeting side. And by the way, it's so cheap. Like, the cost of retargeting is, 20 to $30 per 1,000 people. So like, if you had 1,000 people go to your website,
Yeah, that's dirt cheap.
to serve them a retargeting ad costs literally $20.
Yeah.
And so that's layer one. Layer two is we use OTT or CTV. And so this is a relatively new, media platform over the last couple of years. And so OTT stands for over the television, and they are all of the streaming apps on your television. And so what's amazing about OTT and CTV, which stands for connected TV, is you can take that data from abouttosell.com that they give you from the courthouses, and you can serve ads to those homeowners using their physical property address. That's all you need. And the
Wow.
CTV and OTT vendors, you don't have the same privacy restrictions with them, so you can literally target down to the homeowner level, and you don't have to do it based off like zip code or general area. And so we also are kind of layer two for us is serving them a literally an ad on their television, and that's our next hit point again to get them to come back to the website when they're ready to transact. And again, most of the people going through these major life events are going to transact within a pretty short period of time, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. But again, I don't want to be calling them until
Yeah.
they're ready to transact. We just want to stay in front of them, and we have to stay in front of them for like pennies on the dollar to make it generate a high ROI. And so in marketing, there's a term called CPM, stands for cost per thousand. And so for us to be, in my opinion, to be successful in the real estate industry, we have to have a really low CPM to drive success because we have to hit the consumer many, many, many times. And
Correct.
the other kicker is like the other challenge about getting listings is there's this, massive addressable market in any city, right? There's like, call it 100,000 homes.
Mm,
But on any given month, there's only like, call it out of those 100,000 homes, there's only like 500 people or 1,000 people raising their hand. So
correct.
you're looking for this needle in the haystack in the grand scheme of things. And so you have to get your message in front of a lot of people. You have to do it very cheaply. So again, the marketing metrics is like you're looking at, what's your frequency, what's your reach, and your CPM. And so if you dial those things in and you have the right data, that's the foundation to building a listing machine. There's some other layers above that from a lead generation perspective. I'm going to kind of just like leave it there. I think most people that are
Yeah.
like just start there. But there's some other layers you add, but unrelated to those cold lead data sources.
Yeah.
The other lead sources you start going after are you have to start running what I call our brand equity campaigns. But again, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. That's a whole nother probably podcast.
Yeah. No, like this is, if somebody's doing nothing, this is so much right here, without going that additional layer. If somebody's listening to this, they have nothing, literally nothing up and running currently. What's the first thing they do?
Man, just go to About to Sell. Tell them, hey, give me the data for my county. Say, hey, I want all the people like that are filing for probate, divorce, facing foreclosure. It's not like it's this huge list, and it's
Yeah.
super cheap. Like I think I spend $750. So it's basically like $250 to get all of the probate records, $250 to get all of the divorce records, $250 to get all the foreclosure records. And so, and that money includes the contact details, so the property address. It includes their email address, so you can cold email them.
Crazy.
I'm not a big fan of calling. It's like you end up with negative reviews. You like the contact rates with all the cell phones and all this blockers are just crazy, right?
Yeah.
So like I'm about generating an inbound lead,
Yeah.
and so my cost per lead when a lead does come in is really high, but it only takes me 1.6 leads to generate a listing appointment and only 2 appointments to get one listing signed on average. And so my cost per lead is about 150 to 160 bucks.
Yeah.
Now that seems like a lot to somebody, but I only need 2 leads. I need less than 2 leads to get one listing appointment, and I only need 2 appointments to get one deal signed, right? So
Exactly.
my client acquisition cost on average is about $600.
That's proportionally to the return on that investment.
Yeah.
It's nothing. That's a minimal.
That's like, so that's what I think is kind of the foundational piece. And then yeah, there's a lot you can layer on top of that.
Do you find, just in general, that's a the 600 roughly is a cost per lead on a national level, or do you find that?
No, it's probably way higher. And then, I mean, the truth is, I have, like, there's a finite number of these data sources, right? Well, that I'm referencing. There's only so many people filing probate or divorce or foreclosure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
There's not that many. And so, like, and I guess it kind of depends on how ambitious you are. But, if you're trying to build a business that's, you want to, if you have the ambitions to like get to 8 figures in commission,
Hmm.
10 million, if you have ambitions to get to $10 million or more in commission dollars, selling the average price point home, you're going to have to go above, doing just going after those data sources.
Sure,
And
sure.
so what we found is we went further up the funnel, if you will. Our cost per lead went up quite a bit more. And so for that specific data source, those specific data sources, my cost is really low. And then
Yeah,
as I go up the funnel on other data sources, the cost per lead goes up significantly.
interesting.
Like at the very top of the funnel, we spend money on radio, TV, and billboards. And so my cost per lead on radio, television, and billboards is $450 per lead,
Jeez.
450. But it only takes me 4 leads to get a deal closed.
Mm,
So will I spend $1,800 to get a closing all day long?
yeah.
My average commission is 14 to 15 grand. So my client acquisition cost is like 12 to 13%. I'll do it all day long.
Most agents, this is their first entrepreneurial endeavor, and they don't. We work hard at being everything, being all these individual roles within a company.
Mhm.
And so, with the marketing hat on, if somebody doesn't have a robust marketing game plan in place, how much of a budget do you allocate to kicking something off? We talked about it's like $600 per lead, but you have to have like an idea of, all right, I'm going into this for this duration of time. I'm building this thing. How much should I allocate?
I mean, the thing is like if you go after these lead sources, you start cash flowing within 90 days because you're going to start getting
Good
leads.
point.
You're going to start getting leads fast. These are people that transact quickly. So I mean, if you wanted to be, uber conservative, have like, 3 months of reserves, and you need basically $750 to get the data, and then
Hmm.
um, you're probably going to spend, uh, advertising to that data. I'd probably recommend no less than $1,500. So you're kind of all in.
Totally reasonable.
I think you're all in like total $2,300. Um, you're going to allocate like probably, $500 to connected television. You're going to
Yeah.
allocate $500 um, to retargeting ads. And then you're going to spend, probably $500 in direct mail. Um, so what is that? So you're all in like 2250 on average, to basically go, tackle that data set. Um, but you should be able to take, you know, 4 or 5 listings a month like clockwork.
Yeah. I mean, and totally reasonable numbers. If somebody's listening to this podcast goes to a lot of Compass agents. Compass has a retreat coming up. It's all in after taxes. It's 2 grand. So you can either take the 2 grand and put it into the retreat, which I think is worth it, or you can run a machine to get you more leads, more closings, and then pay for the retreat off the backs of that. So it's like, where do you want to put your money? I feel like that's what's his name, Robert Kiyosaki,
Mm-hmm.
who he like won't go out and buy the Porsche. He'll buy the rental property that pays him money, then goes to buy the Porsche with the
Yeah,
rental money. It's the
that's
same
right.
thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
Um, dude, this is crazy. This is a master class on leads and lead generation. Changing gears really quick. I have a private group, which is it's comprised of a lot of the heavy hitters across the U.S. Top performing agents. Some of them have 40 plus people on their team. I would love to invite you to give a talk to them. No pressure. You don't have to answer now. I know I'm putting you on the spot, but I would love to put you in front of those guys to talk about this. I know this is
Sure.
it's such a powerful component that, I mean,
Is it a
not
is it
not
is it
everybody's doing this.
is this a like a Facebook group you have where everybody congregates?
It's not Facebook.
Oh,
It's through private channels.
okay.
But I'm the one who hosts it,
It's
and
like a mastermind. You guys.
it's a
Yeah.
masterminders group, and it's comprised mostly of past guests,
Yeah.
which are all it's 100. I have 150 past guests that are like you, the top of the top. So yeah, I would love for you to hang out with them if you're open to it.
I'm totally game. Let me know when the next one is.
For sure.
Um, so if you have a lot of people that are currently running teams, so for anybody that again doesn't know me, I'm based out of Austin, Texas, and
Yeah.
our prices have fallen 37%. And so our market's just been getting obliterated. And my conversion rates are at an all-time low. And
Mhm.
I'm still having people sell at least my listing agents are still selling at least 60 homes a year, but um we're at it's more challenging. It's harder than ever before. So anyways, we had to start looking under every single stone imaginable to try to figure out how to you know, um, get back to where we were
Right.
from a conversion rate perspective. And I had something happen probably 6, 7, 8 months ago, and it's been like one of my greatest epiphanies over the past like 15 years. And a lot of people ask me why I still do what I do, and I have this very altruistic interest in trying to help reduce the churn in our industry because like
Mhm.
I was this 21-year-old kid, and I kind of got chewed up and spit out a little bit
Yeah.
um, because I got kind of frustrated, and I was on that team for 3 4 months. And I took a job doing something else and then just kept my license. I kept it active, but I only sold homes part time between 2007 and 2009. I had this business I invested in, went totally bust, ended up on the red IKEA couch, and the only thing I knew how to do was sell homes. And so I got really laser focused then. Um, but where I want to, the I'm trying to give you some context as why I care so much about improving the churn.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of really ambitious people in our industry, and I think the framework of how our industry is set up is what causes the high churn.
Yeah.
I I like spent a good amount of time researching like our industry going back to when the NAR was formed in 1908,
Yep.
and we didn't have the kind of churn we have now in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. Um, in the night, it seems like the industry really changed significantly in the 1970s and 1980s when Remax launched Remax and Keller Williams and these others launched these franchise systems. And when you buy a franchise, some people think it's about the brand, but it's not about the brand. It's about the operational playbook. And so when you
Correct.
actually go and buy the operational playbook, their entire business models are built on massive agent count. And so like it's kind of a claim to fame with some of them is like, what is our agent to broker ratio?
Yeah.
And like some of them have like 200 agents to like one broker. And so like it's like how are those agents going to be successful if they're all sharing one broker that's the subject matter expert?
Yeah.
So here's been my epiphany. Um, every brokerage, every team spends a significant amount of time, energy training people up underneath them. Everybody has these great training programs, great onboarding programs, but it usually stops
Yeah.
after 30 to 60 days.
Yep.
And what's missing in our industry is the enforcement post training.
Yes.
So if you kind of
The habit.
imagine the circle that you take someone through training, right? It's like onboarding, you take them through onboarding, you train them, you go on appointments with them, you make
Yeah.
calls with them. There's kind of that saying like, I'll do it, we'll do it, and then you'll do it, right? And
Yeah.
then and then there's like this, you have to be inspecting what you expect.
Sure.
So a lot
Yeah.
of agents will, I think in most brokerages, doesn't matter which brokerage it is, they'll start off really hot in their career and then the wheels start falling off the bus pretty fast.
Yeah. I've seen it so many times, man.
So so what's missing is the inability to inspect what you expect, which is as a brokerage, you expect the agent to leverage the things they learned in training.
Right.
And agents, there's no way you're going to expect your broker, or even if you're on a small team, your team leader is not going to go do ride-alongs with you and listen to all your calls. Like there's not enough time in the day. So we built this app on um, OpenAI,
Mm.
and basically what it does is it digests the phone calls the agents make, the
Hmm.
audio, and we uploaded like 10,000 plus hours of training material, and we uploaded a grading rubric for buyers and one for sellers.
Smart.
And it's an AI, call it note-taking summary for the agent, but it also is a
Mhm.
skill. It gives them a skill score. Like, how effective were they at, converting that call into an appointment?
Yeah.
And at the bottom of the notes, the AI actually says, like, hey, here's the things you should have improved on or you should improve on next time to
Yeah.
increase booking an appointment with the next lead you talk to.
Yeah.
So we added that layer and we slowly saw our first off, we saw our agents' skill scores improve. And we saw I did it for my inside sales team first, but we saw the lead to appointment ratio improve. So the number of leads required to book an appointment, we saw that number improve because the agents, in my case, inside sales agents, they started self-discovering like
Yeah.
immediately, instantaneously. They
And that's powerful.
So the second thing we did, that was the first thing we did, and the results were like so bonkers. We were like, oh my god, let's see if we can help them on the face-to-face meeting.
Yeah.
So on the mobile app, we added a record feature, and we walk into the house and we tell the seller up front, we're like, hey, I have this AI note taker, Miss Seller. Are you cool if I use this to keep notes? Every single seller is like, oh my god, that sounds amazing. I've
Yeah.
heard so much about ChatGPT.
My vet does that.
Yeah,
I go in, I bring my dog. They're like, "Hey, do you mind if we hit record?" So I don't. So basically, to
yeah,
summarize the notes, and I'm
and
like, "Sure."
so the face-to-face, call it conversations that the AI is taking in,
Yeah.
has literally been the most mind-boggling thing I have seen. Um, the AI is giving the agent suggestions when they walk out of the appointment on what they could have done better to win the business.
That's amazing.
And so,
Amazing, dude.
it like I've been going through these like personally and looking at them, and I saw one where an agent went on an appointment, and the agent says verbally, hey, Mr. Seller, you're located in this area and there's like no comps in the area. And so the agent literally had nothing to show them. There were no sold comps. There was nothing active. It was in a very rural area. And the AI said, after the appointment, the AI said, you know, there's a high likelihood the buyer is going to get a loan on this property, and the bank will be required to get an appraisal,
To
and
find
the
something.
appraiser is going to find something. And so
Exactly.
next time around, when you go on an appointment, you need to dig deeper and think like an appraiser because the seller wants a subject matter expert, right? And
Yeah.
you showed up with no information on the comp side. So that's like an example of one. I had another
That's.
one.
I'm gonna pause you right there. That is brilliant. My background is sales, and I've been doing sales for 25 years. And one thing I learned, I think it was from Brian Tracy, like this is decades ago, is end every call with what did I do really good that I'll continue to do, and what can I improve the next time around. And basically, your this app that you've created is doing literally that and giving you a positive way to problem solve the future. That's a game changer right there. No wonder why your conversions are so high.
Well, I mean, they've gone up a lot because of this. We increased, so my face to face conversion. I would say my low performers, the ones like we might consider like cutting or typically averaging like 41, 42%. Like most of my team was hitting like mid 50s to 61, 62% face to face conversion.
Yeah.
And people listening to this might be like, "Oh, I win every single appointment I go on." Well, guess
That's
what? These
bull.
well, but but
That's,
but
no
also,
one is no one wins every Super Bowl.
but here's the other thing is like my agents aren't going to meet people that know them. They're complete strangers.
Yeah.
Complete strangers. My agents have no clue who these sellers are. No relationship. They're not past clients. And so I get it. If you got a referral, yes, you should win like 9 out of 10 of those.
Sure.
But if you're, going after strangers, like if you can win 50 to 60%, like you're crushing it.
Yeah.
So anyways, our conversion dropped to 41, 42%. We started adding the AI note taker. And again, if you're listening to this and you're a team, I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but sometimes you end up in this very challenging relationship with your agents when you're constantly critiquing them, saying like, "Hey, you need to do A, B, and C," and then they don't do it, and it's like this parent-child relationship.
Yeah.
And so, what's been cool about the AI stuff is it's objective, and it's not some human, right? And so, like the salesperson is like self-discovering, like, "Oh, shoot, I did forget that," or "Yeah, I need," and the other kicker is it happens immediately.
Yeah.
And that doesn't have like that. You can't have a broker follow you around and give you feedback consistently year round and, give you the feedback immediately because this is not enough time in the day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you hit the nail on the head with sales. It always matters who says it. And if it's literally coming from themselves because the AI is analyzing exactly what they've said and there's no personal interpretation. It's a machine. And so it's brilliant.
What's funny is so like when we first launched it with our agents, the app,
What's the name of it? The
so
app?
yeah, you can find it on the App Store. It's called Table OS. We wanted Table, but they wanted $2.3 million for that name. And I was like, get out of here.
That's crazy.
Um,
I just heard AI.com. Some kid bought it and like, I don't know, like way back in the day and just sold it for like multiple millions.
wow.
Like good for you, man.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, you can look it up, Android, iPhone, Table OS, and basically, you want to connect it to your CRM. I think you should integrate it with your CRM, which is super easy. But anyways, in the first iteration of the app, it just had bullet points of like, hey, here's what you should do better.
Yeah.
In the second iteration, what we had to add was putting in quotations exactly what the agent said
Oh,
to,
that's money right there.
to back up where they missed the mark.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything you've shared to this point. There you have a hyper specificity with what you're measuring, what the data is, and so it only makes sense that there's a specificity with what is actually being said, and then addressing that. It's brilliant, man. I love it. I'm actually on my phone right now looking it up so I don't forget.
I would, you can go to the the website is tableos.ai. There's a lot of tools out there like in the industry. I wish we didn't have to like go build the app ourselves. We were just desperate because we needed to improve conversion. And I had talked to these other companies that like graded phone calls. And I was like, man, pretty please, will you please build this so we can grade the in-person appointments and help the agents with the conversion? And I couldn't get him to do it. And so we were like, screw it. We're gonna do it. So anyways, what's been cool is I've been able to eliminate a lot of other systems. Like, you don't need Sisu anymore. You don't need Shiloh.
Mhm.
You don't need Maverick. Like this does all of it. So
Dude, that's crazy.
the mobile app will track all of your KPIs connected to your CRM. So calls, appointments, appointment set, appointment met, win, loss, lead source ROI reporting, deals at risk that are sitting in stages. Um, it's got leaderboards. It's like, it's basically all those apps. We just replaced them because it's trying to get an agent to like have multiple apps on their phone, like huge pain in the ass.
It's huge pain. It's a huge pain. And we're already doing it. Like we're already distracted. Um dude, this is I'm looking at it now. Holy shit, this is money. Um
So tableos.ai is powered by RealSync. And if you want to like see if you want to see the what the KPI dashboards and everything look like, you can go to realsync.com. It's sync is SYNCH. But if you go to realsync.com, that's what powers the Table OS app.
mhm.
And so again, if you go to RealSync, you can see all the the dashboards. You can see lead source ROI reporting and how many calls are people making, conversion rates, conversation summaries, and all that. And so this, um, it's stupid easy to set up. Like you can set it up in less than 5 minutes. You don't have to have any kind of technical background. There's like
Dude,
a
this is
three.
crazy. This is from both hats. From the person in the field, this is an absolute game changer. And for the manager, the leader, it's an absolute game changer because you're privy to a whole series of new things that you've never ever had access to, that you just kind of go on someone's word, really.
Yeah,
It's a total game changer. There's a couple agents, prolific team leads that I'm immediately sending this to. So
I've got like probably 20 or 25 groups that are using it now.
yeah.
Um, And yeah, everybody's seeing the same thing. Conversion rates are going up, face to face conversion, phone conversion, lead to appointment ratios are improving. I don't know. It's crazy because it's like something so simple.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I wish we would have thought about this like, 10 years ago. But I guess back then, I mean, AI, open AI and all that's like relatively new. So
Yeah. Like even 4 months ago, do you know what I mean? Like it was a very different AI was a very different world a year ago. And so I feel like your timing is great. Make one for podcast hosts and then I can learn how to do this better. That'd be an A plus.
hey, maybe you could take your recordings and send it to ChatGPT and say, "Hey, grade these podcasts," and ask, "How can I get more viewers?"
Dude, that app is a game changer, period. And I'm literally after we get done with this and I record the intro, I'm gonna go screw around on the website and take a look at it. To your point earlier, I think the industry, you made the point of NAR being created in 1908, and it clearly needs to be updated. It's just, I personally think there should be a better form of an apprenticeship program. I think agents are hung out to dry. There was a couple years ago, there was 2.5 million active licenses. We're down to 1.4, and 71% of agents last year did zero transactions.
Yeah,
Like they need these tools. Like it's clear people are dying on the vine. And to your point, these some of the brokerages, and I'm not throwing shade, is they just hire anybody and everybody. They give them like here's the McDonald's fast start of all the things you need, go, and then they kick them out of the nest, and then they all fall on their face, and it's the proof is in the numbers, right? You're a data guy.
I mean, I'm
If 71% are doing zero, that's a massive flaw with the industry.
well. I think I run a more of the team model, but I think the app could work for and maybe it could be a godsend for the big box brokerages because you know maybe the agents would actually be able to take the training and use it and get results consistently because the AI is reminding them of what they learned in the classroom. and we're all human. We're only going to, retain 10% of what we heard in the classroom. And so if you, but the AI can be your sidekick, guiding you along in your career, to help you stay the course. Because it eliminates the emotion, and it's very objective. And so maybe it could be a game changer to help reduce the churn. Because there's only 2 points where conversion fails for agents, like literally 2 points. No matter how much tech you have, no matter how many leads you have, like there's only two places where conversion, where it makes or breaks you, and it's on the phone and it's in person. And those are the two
Yeah.
critical places where you need the most, like, support. And um, that now, again, thank God with AI, like this is the, godsend that I think could help significantly reduce churn in our industry.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think in the field training, it's like practicing a sport when you have the coach and the assistant coach watching you and you're getting live feedback. This is that. It's you have somebody now watching you and giving you feedback and saying, "Hey, actually the appraiser is going to be able to find comps. So you can too."
Yeah.
Like figure it out.
There's other, as funny as that exact deal. Like I looked at that report card. We don't call it a report card, but anyways, I looked at the summary for that appointment, and the
Yeah.
listing agent still got the appointment. They won it. They like got the listing signed, but and then here is the kicker. It's like, I don't know if anybody can relate to this as a team, but it sucks as a team to take a listing on that then fails to sell because the listing agent took it on overpriced. And
Yeah.
so the AI basically created a red flag for us internally, like, okay, the agent got the listing, great, but oh shit, before we go spend a couple $1,000s on this thing, like photos, couriers, all things, right? Like
Yeah.
we need to make sure we need to audit what the agent did, like what they took the listing at price wise, because should we go spend thousands of dollars and take this listing on at that price? And so anyways, that like back end stuff has helped us save a significant amount of money. That was another area we were getting crushed in Austin. Was like 40% of the listings were expiring in Austin. Like I'm talking about the whole city.
Yeah.
And so you just massive sunk costs. And so anyways, that's another thing like I've gotten out of the conversational intel is we've been able to identify deals that are going to blow up on the runway before they take off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think again, agents have all these different personalities and you're very analytical and able to look at these things. And it's clearly a strong suit for the way that you built all this and being able to see those pieces before they happen is, I mean, that's expertise is
Yep.
having the sensory acuity to identify it way in advance of like now, if somebody comes to you and like, "Hey, want to do a bar?" And you're like, "Nope, I got experience."
Yep.
You're like, "Not doing that," and I'll tell you exactly why.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's you. It's amazing. I love the different stuff that you're doing. I will put in the show notes I'll make sure that we link the table OS, and then that other one you mentioned that I have on my search bar.
About to sell.com. Yeah.
Yes,
And
that one too.
I'm happy to give anybody listening to this. I wrote this book. It's kind of dated now. I wrote it like 7, 8 years ago, but I had a lot of people ask me to write, and talk about that story, us scaling up from 2010 to 2013. And so it's
Yeah.
basically about that time period. Um, and it's on Amazon. But I've got like a special landing page we built to give the book away for free.
Mm.
You just got to pay for the shipping costs. I think shipping's like $5 or $6, but
So let me guess. I I pay for the shipping, and then you retarget.
nope.
I'm just kidding.
You won't see any retargeting ads. Like if I send you this landing page to get the book free, you ain't gonna see no retargeting ads.
No,
Um,
I'm totally just razzing. I happily, honestly, happily be retargeted because
there
I
you go.
feel like it would be a masterclass with everything that you've shared. What's the link to the book?
So I just put in the chat. It's kind of a long URL. Like you can just
Okay.
just go on Google and type in $1 million real estate team. And that's the domain. It's $1,000,000realestateteam.com.
Cool. I will make sure that's in the show notes.
And then here, I'll put this one too. So this is where you can go get your, fast converting lead data about to sell. If you want the BI stuff, business intelligence stuff. We have all this stuff integrated, by the way. So like, I know I'm recommending a lot of stuff, but all this stuff like speaks to one another and is all integrated. It's all powered. It's all ultimately powered by RealSync.
Man, and Chris, I really appreciate that you walk the walk. Like a lot of agents are like, "Oh, I'm collaborative," but you actually are. You're like, here's my playbook. Take it, and I really appreciate and honor you for that. I think a lot of people say they are, but you're actually here doing it. Man, you are welcome back on the podcast anytime. I feel like
thanks for having me.
I feel like we barely got into the first. I feel like it's like a book of encyclopedias, and we barely got into the letter A.
Yeah, I'd say this is like one chapter.
barely a chapter. And additionally, if you have the time, I know you're a busy guy and you're running a lot of business.
Yeah, let me know.
I would love to get you into the private group. I know in the past people have been asking about running ads and figuring out and cracking that nut, and I feel like that group, hyper specific, will absorb everything you have to share. So I'd love to have you in there into the inner circle group.
Yeah, I have I'd love to bring my marketing director. I had this, amazing marketing director. She's, oversees like the architecture of our campaigns, and I'm happy to let her show everybody, our ads and, how everything kind of works.
That would be unbelievable. I've to date not been able to find the right person, and here you are. So thank you, Abby. Thanks, Abby, for aggressively messaging me in the most what's the right word, like classy way.
Cool. I'm glad to be on. It's great meeting you, man.
You too. And that my friend, that's a wrap.